In a moment suspended between despair and divine intervention, the Church of Sant'Andrea stands on the brink of destruction, its sacred walls trembling under the advance of Captain Guillaume and his merciless soldiers. As chaos erupts and the very essence of faith hangs in the balance, a young boy named Carlo steps forward, his voice rising above the din with an audacious declaration: "You can't harm what belongs to God." But just as the soldiers prepare to strike, an otherworldly light ignites from the altar, illuminating the darkness around them. What happens next will challenge the limits of belief and redefine the power of faith forever. But to understand how we got to this point, we need to go back to the beginning. This was just the beginning of the plan. Before we get to the full story, take a moment to subscribe and comment where you're from. In the heart of Veroli, a quaint town nestled in the rolling hills of Lazio, Italy, echoes of a tumultuous past lingered in the air. Here, centuries-old cobblestones bore witness to the struggles between the papacy and the Holy Roman Empire, a conflict that left profound scars on the land and its people. The year was 1268, a time when the sacred met the profane, and the faith of many would soon face a trial by fire. The town was steeped in history, with the Church of Sant'Andrea standing as a proud symbol of faith amidst the chaos. Its towering spire reached into the heavens, a beacon guiding the devout through dark times. The townsfolk, deeply rooted in their Catholic beliefs, filled its pews each Sunday, their voices rising in harmonic prayers that seemed to ascend toward the divine. Among them was young Carlo Acutis, a curious and bright 15-year-old boy. His passion for the Eucharistic miracles ignited a fire within him, an emotional connection to the sacred that went beyond mere ritual. However, as tensions began to rise, an ominous cloud loomed over Veroli. The delicate peace was threatened by the advance of Captain Guillaume de Montfort and his battalion of French soldiers. Their mission, to assert dominance over the Italian territories by force. News of their ruthless reputation spread like wildfire, leaving dread in the hearts of the citizens. The once serene atmosphere of Veroli transformed into one of palpable anxiety, punctuated by hushed whispers and fearful glances. As the soldiers drew closer, rumors circulated about their intentions towards the Church of Sant'Andrea. Angry discussions erupted in the marketplace. "They aim to desecrate our sacred places," one local merchant declared, his voice trembling with indignation. Such sacrilege was unthinkable, yet the threat was real. Carlo watched as his parents and neighbors exchanged worried looks, all too aware of the potential horrors that lay ahead. That fateful day dawned with a brittle calm, as if the world held its breath in anticipation. Shrouded in tension, the townspeople went about their routines, casting anxious glances towards the horizon. It was in that medieval moment, stark against the setting sun, that the sound of boots marching echoed through the streets. The invasion had begun. Captain Guillaume's battalion descended upon Veroli with the ferocity of a storm. Their swords glinted wickedly in the sunlight, while the cries of the soldiers filled the air with a sense of impending doom. The townsfolk, paralyzed by fear, scrambled for shelter. Windows were hastily shuttered, doors bolted shut, and hushed prayers erupted from trembling lips. Young Carlo, despite the chaos, felt a stirring within him, a calling to stand firm in the face of overwhelming darkness. As Captain Guillaume led his men towards the Church of Sant'Andrea, Carlo's heart raced with a mix of fear and determination. He followed the soldiers at a distance, unable to turn away from the unfolding horror. The sight of the ancient church, its stone facade looming above, took on an eerie quality, becoming a battleground for both faith and despair. The bell tolled ominously, echoing through the alleyways like a funeral dirge as Captain Guillaume ordered his men to breach the hallowed sanctuary. "Burn it to the ground," he shouted, a savage glint of madness flashing in his eyes. With that command, the soldiers surged forward. They forced their way through the doors, splintering the wood and shattering the sanctity of the space. Light from torches flickered against the walls, casting grotesque shadows that danced menacingly. Inside the church, chaos reigned. The soldiers carelessly tossed holy artifacts aside, their laughter laced with derision. For Carlo, the scene felt like a nightmare pulled from the depths of his worst fears. As he peered through a broken window, he spotted the consecrated hosts resting upon the altar, unaware of the impending sacrilege. Each host was a testament to the divine, a claim to the most profound mysteries of his faith. In an instant, as the soldiers prepared the fire that would consume everything sacred in their path, a wave of despair washed over Carlo. His parents had instilled in him a fierce love for God and the Church, a connection he could not let falter before such cruelty. "Lord, help us," he whispered into the void, his heart clenching at the sight before him. He was at a crossroads between fear and faith, feeling a deep urge to intervene even amidst his vulnerability. The struggle had begun not just for the sanctity of the Church of Sant'Andrea, but for the very soul of Veroli. In the shadow of imperious might, would faith stand unyielding, or would it crumble in the face of such aggression? Carlo's silent prayer hung in the air, a glimmer of hope amidst despair. In that moment, he would unknowingly set the stage for a miracle that would unfold. one that would transform not just the fate of Veroli, but the fabric of faith itself. The soldiers pressed forward, the air thick with smoke and the acrid stench of burning wood. Captain Guillaume's eyes gleamed with a savage delight as they violated the sacredness of the Church of Sant'Andrea, the very heart of Veroli. Inside, chaos erupted as soldiers overturned pews and destroyed holy artifacts, their jeers and laughter echoing like a cruel symphony of destruction. The flickering illumination from their torches cast grotesque shadows that writhed along the stone walls, transforming the sacred space into a grim theater of war. Carlo watched in horror, his body frozen by the weight of fear and disbelief. These were not mere invaders, but aggressors aiming to extinguish hope itself. He had come here to pray and seek solace, yet the sight before him felt like a violent assault on everything he held dear. Behind the shattered glass of the window, he saw the consecrated hosts resting upon the altar, blissfully untouched but dangerously close to the encroaching flames. They were not just bread, they were the embodiment of faith, a beacon amidst despair. Just as despair threatened to overwhelm him, Carlo recalled the stories his parents had told him, tales of courage and miracles, of saints who had stood firm against oppression in the name of faith. "Lord, help us," he found himself whispering desperately, the words slipping from his lips like a prayer on the wind. It was in these sacred moments of darkness that a flicker of faith sparked within him. The soldiers were preparing to set the altar ablaze, their leader's voice slicing through the air with a chilling authority. "Burn it, burn everything," Captain Guillaume shouted, his ravenous eyes locked onto the altar as he raised a torch in a gesture of finality. Carlo felt something shift within him, a deep-rooted conviction ignited by the urgency of the moment. "No, stop," he cried, stepping into the unclear light that filled the church, his voice breaking through the noise like a clarion call. The soldiers halted, momentarily softened by the sheer audacity of his words. "You can't destroy this place, you can't harm what belongs to God." His heart pounded, each thump a testament to his rising courage. Captain Guillaume's face twisted into a sneer, amusement mixed with disbelief. "And who are you to challenge us, little boy?" he mocked, brandishing the torch like it was a weapon against Carlo's defiance. "You think your faith will protect you?" The townsfolk who had been hidden in the shadows began to shift nervously. Murmurs swept throughout the corners of the church as they watched Carlo confront the soldiers. A sense of solidarity crackled in the air, fueled by uncertain hope. They had seen the miracles of their faith, and now they were witnessing a young boy willing to stand against overwhelming odds. "I am a child of God, this church is a sanctuary, and you have no right to desecrate it," Carlo proclaimed defiantly, his voice trembling but unwavering. His words hung in the air like a prayer of conviction. In response to the mounting tension, a sudden gust of wind swept through the church, extinguishing the torches that had cast flickering shadows across the stone walls. The soldiers jerked backward, eyes wide with confusion. Gasps echoed through the chamber, the aura of disbelief palpable as they found themselves illuminated by an ethereal light. As the darkness receded, a magnificent golden glow emanated from the altar, pulsating as if an unseen force was gathering. Carlo's heart raced as he witnessed the consecrated hosts subtly shifting, glowing with a radiant light that transcended all understanding of nature. The very air felt alive with energy, and for a moment, a calm serenity replaced the chaos that had engulfed the church. "What is happening?" one soldier stammered, a tremor of fear weaving through his bravado. "It's a trick, keep your weapons ready," Captain Guillaume barked, yet even his voice trembled as he took a nervous step back. He could not deny the miraculous sight that unfolded before him. The hosts were now levitating above the altar, spun by an invisible thread of divine grace. "See," Carlo shouted, emboldened by the vision of the heavenly light. "This is God's power. He protects his own. You cannot succeed here." The realization that he had sparked this moment of divine emergence filled him with unexpected strength. The soldiers hesitated. Uncertainty gripped their hearts, a stark counterbalance to the unflinching faith emanating from Carlo and the townsfolk hidden in the shadows. Faces that had once shown determination now displayed fear and doubt, and as the light grew brighter, the cacophony of destruction seemed to evaporate into a haunting silence. One soldier whispered, trembling, "What if it's true?" Amidst the growing tension, the miraculous transformation continued. The hosts, now surrounded by an incandescent aura, glimmered like stars fallen to earth. The divinity that had interrupted their sacrilege stood as an undeniable testament to the power of faith. It was as if the church itself refused to be a victim of their cruelty. In that moment, the gravity of the invasion began to shift. Carlo felt the collective strength of the townsfolk behind him, a unity bolstered by shared conviction that swelled through the air. The soldiers, who had come with weapons and arrogance, began to falter, their courage diminishing in the face of such undeniable power. "Leave this place now and never return," Carlo commanded, his voice resonating with authority drawn from the heart of God. The light emanating from the altar pulsated affirmatively, as if in agreement with his call to righteousness. One by one, the soldiers began to retreat, their respect for the power they could not comprehend overtaking their initial bravado. "We will regroup," Captain Guillaume stammered, his confidence crumbling under the weight of the divine encounter. Slowly, one by one, they turned away from the altar, resigned to leave the sanctuary they had sought to destroy. Carlo watched, heart pounding, as they backed away into the shadows, their retreat a mirror image of his own rising faith. As the last remnants of the soldiers faded into the night, the glow surrounding the altar began to fade back into a gentle radiance, and he felt an overwhelming sense of relief wash over him. The church stood unscathed, a monument of persistence against adversity, and Carlo closed his eyes, overwhelmed with gratitude. The prayers of the townsfolk, mixed with his own, floated up toward the heavens, transformed into a chorus of thanksgiving celebrating the miracle they had collectively witnessed. In that moment, amidst the ashes of impending destruction, hope had been reborn. The altar still glimmered with remaining light, a soft beacon of assurance that lingered in the air, signaling to the people of Veroli that love and faith would always prevail, even in the darkest of times. Carlo Acutis had not just been a spectator, he had become an instrument of divine power, a guiding light amid the shadows. In that church, with hearts lifted and spirits renewed, the battle between faith and despair had found a resounding victory, one that would echo through the ages. As the last remnants of the soldiers disappeared into the night, the atmosphere within the Church of Sant'Andrea began to transform. The empowering glow that had enveloped the altar now settled into a warm, gentle light that caressed the faces of those gathered. Relief washed over the townsfolk, mingling seamlessly with heartfelt prayers of gratitude. Each voice harmonized, creating a symphony of thankfulness that filled the once chaotic space. Carlo remained at the forefront, heart still racing from the confrontation. He was acutely aware of the palpable energy surrounding him, radiating warmth and peace. The reconnection with the divine presence left him feeling imbued with purpose. His eyes drifted toward the altar, the consecrated hosts shimmered softly, still aglow with their miraculous encounter. It was as if the very presence of God lingered in that sacred space, an ethereal promise of protection and reassurance. "Let us come together in prayer," Bishop Giacomo suggested, his voice steady yet compassionate. The townsfolk arranged themselves in a circular formation around Carlo and the altar, forming a community united by faith and gratitude. Carlo felt a swell of belonging wash over him as they clasped hands, creating an unbroken chain of hope. With reverence, the bishop led them in prayer, his voice resonating through the church. Each word carried with it the weight of their shared experience, an affirmation of their collective triumph over despair. "Lord, we thank you for your presence among us, for showing us that even in our darkest hours, you stand with us." Tears glistened in the eyes of many as Carlo listened to the heartfelt words spilling forth. Each person reflected a piece of the community's spirit, a spirit that refused to waver even in the face of fear. He glanced around, meeting the gazes of his friends and neighbors, their faces illuminated with renewed faith. They had weathered a storm together, and now they stood united, emboldened by the knowledge that darkness could be overcome. When the prayer concluded, a murmur of approval rippled through the crowd, each individual feeling an unspoken connection with Carlo, the boy at the heart of it all. They began to express their gratitude, praising him for his bravery and courage. "You were the light when we needed it most," one neighbor exclaimed, squeezing Carlo's shoulder in an embrace filled with warmth. "It was all of us together," Carlo replied earnestly. "Our faith united us, and in that unity we found strength. We should celebrate this miracle as a community." As darkness deepened outside, a gentle flicker of light seemed to dance through the church, casting an enchanting glow on the faces of the townsfolk. The bishop turned to them and spoke, his voice filled with conviction. "We must ensure that this miracle is recorded and remembered. This is not just an event, it is a testament that our faith is alive and active. We must share this story far and wide." And so, plans began to take shape around celebrating their triumph. The tales of the extraordinary events that had unfolded spread like wildfire, touching hearts far beyond the borders of Veroli. The local church became a pilgrimage site, with people traveling from distant lands to witness the hosts that had defied destruction and fear. Carlo became a vital part of this movement, sharing his experience with fervor and passion. Days turned into weeks. Slowly but surely, the Church of Sant'Andrea transitioned from a site of trauma to a beacon of hope and inspiration. Artists, poets, and storytellers flocked to Veroli, inspired to capture the spirit of what had transpired. Some fashioned intricate murals depicting the moment the hosts glowed with divine light, while others composed hymns that sang of the victory over despair and the unity of the townsfolk. Carlo often found himself standing at the altar, reflecting not just on the miracle but on what it meant for him personally. He felt a calling burning within him, one that whispered of deeper truths and the incredible capacity for faith and resilience to flourish even in the direst circumstances. He realized that God had not only protected their church that fateful night, but had also ignited a fire within him to explore the mysteries of faith and share its impact with the world. It wasn't long before Carlo began documenting his thoughts and reflections. He penned letters to friends and family detailing the events of that night, his growing understanding of Christ and the importance of sharing faith with others. Written in ink that flowed with passion, his words conveyed the encouragement and renewal their community had experienced. He hoped to inspire readers, showing them that they too could stand firm against the trials they faced. As the church's significance grew, so did Carlo's role within the community. People sought him out for guidance, many wanting to hear his account of bravery. Carlo became a symbol of faith, a reminder that even the weakest hearts could find courage in the face of adversity. Little did he know, he was nurturing a legacy that would echo beyond his own life. One evening, as Carlo stood beneath the vast sky sprinkled with stars, he felt a presence beside him. The bishop approached, a knowing smile on his face as he joined him in contemplation. "You have become so much more than just a boy who had faith, Carlo. You are a steward of God's love and miracles." Carlo turned, his heart swelling. "But I don't feel different. This was all God's doing. I merely acted in the moment." "Precisely," the bishop replied, his eyes twinkling. "You acted from faith, and that is where the miracle lies. You allowed yourself to be a vessel for God's light, reminding us that honor and bravery lie within each of us." As they gazed up into the shimmering night sky, a sense of peace enveloped both men. It was as if the stars themselves echoed the sentiments of a greater truth, that light would always prevail over darkness, and that miracles could be found in the simplest acts of courage, whispers of faith echoing through time. Years would pass and Carlo Acutis would continue to grow, tireless in his journey to document miracles that echoed through faith. But on that sacred night in the Church of Sant'Andrea, a remarkable bond was forged, one unbroken by the passage of time. Carlo had ignited not just a miracle but a movement, a legacy of love, courage, and unwavering faith that would guide generations to come, lighting their paths as brightly as the golden glow that once illuminated their sacred altar. The years rolled on, and the legacy founded in faith at the Church of Sant'Andrea began to bloom in ways that Carlo could never have anticipated. As the miraculous events of that fateful night became a cornerstone of Veroli's identity, the town transformed into a pilgrimage site for believers from far and wide. Every visitor brought their stories, hopes, and prayers, creating a vibrant tapestry of faith woven through the lives of those who ventured into Veroli. Families traveled from distant lands, eager to stand where faith had met defiance, to touch the very walls that had witnessed a transformation from terror to triumph. The church, once marred by the shadows of sacrilege, now radiated a sense of sacredness that enveloped all who entered. The beautiful frescoes that decorated its walls seemed more vivid, infused with the prayers spoken in whispered reverence. It became a place of healing, solace, and unified prayer. The town's transformation also brought Carlo into a deeper connection with his community. Every Sunday, he joined Bishop Giacomo in celebrating Mass, his presence a comforting reminder of the miracle that had reshaped their lives. As he spoke with pilgrims, sharing stories brimming with the wonder of faith, he began to realize he wasn't just recounting his encounter but participating in a larger movement, a resurgence of belief rippling through the hearts of all who sought hope. One crisp autumn morning, as sunlight spilled into the church, Carlo prepared to share his testimony during a special Mass dedicated to the miracle's anniversary. Families filled the pews, many adorned in their Sunday best, faces filled with anticipation. The air buzzed with an electric energy that felt almost palpable, a reminder of the faith that had knitted them so closely together. As Carlo ascended the steps to the altar, his heart raced. This moment was significant not just for him, but for everyone who had come to believe that miracles could and did happen. He looked out over the congregation, their faces reflecting hope and gratitude, and felt a surge of warmth within. "Dear friends," he began, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. "Today we celebrate not only the miracle we witnessed here, but the faith and courage that lives on in each of us. We have come through darkness and emerged into a light that I can only attribute to God's grace." As he spoke, a hush fell over the crowd, all eyes focused on the young man who had once been just a boy. When we stood together against the forces that threatened to extinguish our faith, we didn't merely find a shining moment of divine intervention. We found a community, we found love. Tears glistened in the eyes of many, souls touched by the authenticity of Carlo's words. He continued to share the stories he had collected from visitors, the beautiful tapestry of hope and healing woven through countless journeys to Veroli. These stories were not mere anecdotes, they were testaments to a faith that endured, a faith that could uplift hearts burdened by doubt and fear. Together we create a legacy, Carlo declared passionately. It is our duty to carry this light forward, reminding one another that amidst struggles, hope can flourish. We must become vessels, just as I was on that night, of God's love and unyielding mercy. The bishop watched from behind the altar, pride swelling in his chest. He understood that Carlo had stepped into a role much larger than himself. He was guiding a generation, helping them connect the threads of their own faith to the miracles around them. As the Mass drew to a close, Carlo looked toward the altar where the hosts rested, still luminous with the memory of that sacred evening. The church seemed to breathe with gratitude, and he felt a calling rising within him, a desire to document the countless miracles he encountered. It became clear to him that preserving these stories was not just an act of recording history, but a way to offer hope and encouragement to everyone wrestling with doubt. Days turned into weeks, and cobbled together by threads of ambition and faith, Carlo began his project. He sought out each pilgrim who came to Veroli, each story a testament to resilience. He filled notebook after notebook with accounts of healing, miracles, and renewed spirits. His enthusiasm was contagious, and soon others joined him in the effort, contributing their stories. A growing team of believers began to form, all committed to sharing the essence of faith and the miraculous events that would inspire countless others. As news of Carlo's work spread, he was met with even more stories from across the world, tales of unexpected healings, moments of unwavering courage, signs of divine presence in the face of despair. The sacred energy of Veroli extended its reach, drawing in narratives that echoed Carlo's own experience. The collective result became a library of miracles, each account a beacon of hope. The townsfolk, initially struck by the miracles that had unfolded within their community, now became missionaries of faith, eager to share their stories and invite others to witness the space that had been transformed. Veroli flourished as a place of pilgrimage, standing tall as a testament to the intertwining of faith and community. The altar of the Church of Sant'Andrea became adorned with mementos left by visitors, tokens of gratitude, letters of hope, and symbols of healing. Each piece told a story of how faith had touched a life, collectively illuminating the church like stars in the sky. Carlo found joy in these connections, knowing that with each story shared, they would further light the path for those seeking solace, reminding them that miracles were often just a prayer away. He felt profoundly grateful for the support of the community that had nurtured his faith, allowing it to blossom into something greater than any one individual could accomplish alone. Years came and went, and as Carlo stood at the altar one bright spring morning, he reflected on how one boy's act of bravery had sparked a flame that had danced through the hearts of countless souls. The power of the miracle at Sant'Andrea was still very much alive, echoing through the lives of the faithful who visited, each person a vessel, carrying with them the light of miracles they had embraced. In that sacred space in the heart of Veroli, the bonds forged in faith had become unbreakable. The stories continued to flow, weaving a narrative threaded with hope, courage, and unwavering devotion. And Carlo Acutis, forever anchored to the miracle he had sparked, knew that their legacy of faith would shine brightly for generations to come, illuminating the path ahead as a guiding light amid shadows, testifying to the power of belief that transcends time. As the sun rose higher above the hills of Veroli, casting golden rays through the stained glass windows of the Church of Sant'Andrea, excitement coursed through the town. The annual celebration of the miracle that had transformed their lives was approaching, a day marked on every calendar, a time when the community would come together in shared faith and gratitude. The preparations began weeks in advance. Banners adorned the town square, decorated with symbols of faith and love. Children laughed and played, their voices ringing out like melodies in the warm spring air. Carlo Acutis, now a young man of unwavering resolve, found himself at the heart of those preparations, his spirit buoyed by the community's enthusiasm. "Carlo, can you help me arrange the flowers for the altar?" a neighbor called out, juggling colorful blooms in her arms. Without hesitation, he jumped to assist, his heart swelling with joy as he contributed to the beauty that would adorn the sacred space. Of course, they'll look magnificent. As he worked alongside the townsfolk, Carlo reflected on how far they had come since that transformative night years ago. The miracle had sparked a unique bond among them, something more profound than they could have ever imagined. He marveled at how their collective stories interwove, creating a rich tapestry of faith that stretched far beyond Veroli. They were not just a town, they were a living testament to hope, resilience, and the enduring spirit of community. The week of the celebration was filled with meetings, rehearsals, and countless preparations. Each day brought new stories from pilgrims who arrived to share their gratitude. Many recounted their journeys, recounting the miracles they had experienced since visiting the church. One young woman spoke of her battle with anxiety, which had vanished during her visit, leaving her feeling as if a heavy burden had been lifted. Another shared how a pilgrimage to Veroli had rekindled a flame of faith, she'd thought extinguished long ago. "Your words carry great weight," Carlo told them during one evening gathering. "Each story is a beacon that guides others to find faith just as you did. We must continue to share them." The night before the grand celebration, Carlo and the bishop gathered with the townsfolk for a prayer vigil, filling the sanctuary with lit candles and whispered prayers. As flickering flames danced around them, creating a glow that illuminated their faces, Carlo felt a sense of unity wash over him. It was a moment where everyone's heart beat as one, whispering into the darkness hope-filled promises of faith. At dawn on the day of the celebration, the church bells rang out, heralding a day of joy and gratitude. Carlo was at the altar with Bishop Giacomo as the congregation began to arrive, filling the church with warmth and love. The altar was adorned magnificently, the flowers fragrant and vibrant, symbolizing life and renewal, the perfect representation of the miracle that blossomed in their hearts. As the Mass commenced, the congregation filled their hearts with praise. Carlo eagerly listened to the bishop's homily, which wove together the themes of faith, resilience, and community. Today, the bishop proclaimed, voice imbued with warmth, "We gather not only to remember the miracle at Sant'Andrea, but to celebrate an even greater miracle, our community of faith, a testament to love's enduring power." Carlo felt tears brim in his eyes, overwhelmed by the outpouring of gratitude and love surrounding him. As the service drew to a close, the moment they had all been waiting for arrived, the sharing of stories. Pilgrims and local townsfolk alike lined up to take turns at the podium, each voice rising in testimony of hope and healing. Carlo stood at the side, watching as one after another took the space to recount their experiences. The stories flowed effortlessly, weaving a rich tapestry of faith that filled the church with energy. Among them, a young boy nervously stepped up, his hands trembling as he clutched the podium. Yet as he spoke, his voice grew steadier, recounting how he'd found courage through the miracle of Sant'Andrea, a brave reminder of how even the youngest among them could be vessels of faith. "Your courage inspires us all," Carlo cheered, his heart swelling with pride for the boy's bravery. The boy smiled brightly, igniting the spirit of connection that persisted in the air. One by one, the stories unfolded, each testimony a thread connecting them all. Laughter and tears blended together, and for every heart that opened, another mystery of faith unfolded. Each voice echoed the same sentiment: love and faith had triumphed over despair, proving that miracles were not reserved for the past, but were alive in the hearts of those who believed. As night descended upon Veroli, the celebration culminated in a candlelight vigil outside the church. The gathered townsfolk and pilgrims raised their candles high, illuminating the darkness with flickering lights. Carlo looked out over the crowd, feeling the warmth of community envelop him. It was a breathtaking sight, an ocean of light undulating against the darkened sky, a tribute to their collective journey. "Together we are miracles in motion," Carlo called out, his voice ringing clear. "Let us carry this light forward, embodying hope and faith for all who seek it." Cheers erupted among the crowd, a thunderous affirmation of their shared commitment to shine brightly for generations to come. In that moment, amidst the soft glow of candlelight and shared laughter, Carlo recognized that his journey was intertwined with each story told, every life touched. The legacy of faith he had helped kindle would continue to flourish, a beacon lighting the path for all who ventured in search of hope. As the last embers of the candles flickered and finally dimmed, hearts remained alight with resolve and love. The people of Veroli understood deeply that together, they could withstand any storm, that they were a community built on faith, compassion, and the incandescent power of miracles through time. Carlo Acutis smiled, feeling the unwavering presence of the divine that had accompanied him. Tonight was a symphony of hope, a celebration of their shared stories, and a renewal of their commitment to carry the light of miracles beyond the boundaries of this world. Together, they would illuminate the dark paths of those who needed it most, ensuring that the legacy of love and faith would resonate through time, forever echoing the divine embrace of their shared journey. As dawn broke the next morning, a soft light streamed into Veroli, illuminating the town with the promise of a new day. The air was fresh, brimming with anticipation as the community buzzed with energy left over from the previous night's celebratory vigil. Carlo Acutis woke with a heart full of inspiration, reflecting on the powerful connections forged in love, faith, and trust. In the weeks that followed the vigil, Carlo dedicated himself to ensuring that the messages shared during their gathering would carry on, that the light they had ignited would never flicker or fade. He began organizing regular storytelling sessions in the church, inviting townsfolk to come together to share experiences, both old and new, reinforcing the community's collective spirit. Each week brought forth new voices, unearthing memories and opening doors to future possibilities. One Sunday, as Carlo prepared to start the gathering, he noticed a familiar face in the crowd, a young boy, eyes wide with wonder. His name was Matteo, and he had come to Veroli with his family seeking solace from the burdens they carried. Carlo could sense the boy's anxiety amidst the sea of gathered townsfolk, so he approached him directly. "Matteo, do you want to share your story with us today?" Carlo asked gently, kneeling down to meet the boy's gaze. Matteo hesitated, his voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know if anyone will want to hear it." "Everyone here wants to listen," Carlo replied with a warm smile. "Your story is important, just like every other miracle we celebrate." With encouragement, Matteo finally stepped up, gripping the edge of the podium. He took a deep breath, and in that vulnerable moment, the weight of the room seemed to lift as he spoke of his struggles. He shared how anxiety had overshadowed his life, making faith difficult to grasp. But after visiting the church, he had felt a flicker of hope, the promise of light illuminating his darkness. As he finished, a profound silence filled the room. Carlo stood with tears in his eyes, overwhelmed by Matteo's courage and honesty. "Thank you for sharing that with us, Matteo. Your bravery is a miracle in its own right." The townsfolk erupted in supportive applause, embodying the very essence of faith and unity they had built together. Carlo felt the threads of their collective tapestry tighten, binding them together through shared struggle and empathy. As word spread of the storytelling evenings, more townspeople came to express their journeys, bringing with them the healing power of community. Each account fortified the bonds among them, echoing through the ages past and present that struggles can be transformed into light. The seasons changed, but their commitment to carry the light remained unwavering. During Lent, the foundation organized service projects tied to their discussions. They reached out to neighboring towns, offering assistance to those in need, illuminating darkened corners with hope from Veroli. Carlos realized that they were not only nurturing the stories and miracles within their own community, but starting to share that light beyond their borders, bridging connections with others who yearned for faith. As summer approached, Carlo was invited to present at a local gathering of faith leaders. This opportunity to share their journey resonated deeply with him. The prospect of reaching a broader audience filled him with anticipation and a touch of apprehension. He knew he had to articulate the essence of their journey, how a single miracle had ignited a movement of love, resilience, and togetherness. On the day of the gathering, Carlo stood before the assembly of spiritual leaders, ready to share the miracle of Sant'Andrea and the profound impact it had on Veroli. His voice carried the warmth of the community, the collective stories that had fueled their journey. He spoke passionately about how faith intertwined with action could create ripples that would extend far beyond their modest town. "We are urged to share our light, our faith, and our stories," he stated firmly. "Each of us has the power to ignite miracles in our communities." His heartfelt words resonated deeply with those present, inspiring many to take the learnings back to their own towns. Carlo realized that the legacy the people of Veroli had created had reached into hearts across regions, shimmering like stars connected in a vast sky, each story adding to the brilliance of faith shared. In the months that followed, the seeds planted during that presentation began to blossom. Soon, other towns started to mirror Veroli's spirit of sharing. Each community, like a new branch of the same tree, supported one another, fostering connections that further illuminated their shared journeys. Through this endeavor, Veroli became a symbol, one that stood for hope and love as beacons of light in a world that often felt dark. And within the framework of shared stories, Carlo Acutis realized that miracles were not just observed, they thrived when nurtured through community and connection. As the seasons turned again, the town continued to cultivate the gift of faith passed down through generations. Each soul, a candle reflecting the love that illuminated the path ahead, served as a reminder that miracles began with belief, blossomed in kindness, and flourished when hope was shared. And for Carlo, with every story he heard and every life touched, he remained unwavering in his commitment to carry the light forward, a flame that would endure, transcending time and igniting hope in the hearts of those who dared to believe. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. To hear the next story, click the box on the left. Thanks for watching.